Welcome everyone to the HVAC Insider Series brought to you by Breezy. I'm your host as always, CJ Todd, and it is a pleasure to be here with you all today, my friends. If you haven't done so already, please hop over into the chat. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Love to get to know you just a little bit better. So we all know how tough hiring is, right? Resumes all look the same, interviews kind of misleading, and turnover really costs us big. I think it's one of the biggest challenges in our industry, right? And judging by how many people are on today's call, it looks like you all know exactly what I'm talking about, right? So in today's session, we're going to go over how to overcome those hiring challenges with data, AI, and proven systems that help you attract, hire, and keep the right people in those seats. And I know what you might be thinking, everyone. The AI, kind of solutions are flooding the market right now. And I think it's hard to understand what's real and what's kind of that fluffy marketing stuff. So today, our guest, Jonathan Whistman, is going to cut through all that noise and show you what's behind these solutions and how you can leverage some proven models to consistently win top candidates. Before we get into today's content, I would like to share a little bit about Breezy and how our purpose-built HVAC field management software is designed to make running your business very easy and very scalable. So we focus on helping HVAC business owners create membership programs that run themselves with things like automated billing and renewals, service reminders that keep customers coming back, and post-job reports that really build trust and loyalty instead of just prioritizing kind of one-time interactions with those customers. So those systems that we put in place, they don't just grow your revenue, but they make it easier for technicians to love their jobs and stick around because they aren't bogged down with all the headaches that cause the burnout. So our users see a median year-over-year growth of 19%, which is nearly double that of the industry average of around 8 to 10. So we're seeing some real growth for our real clients. And I'd like to launch a quick poll just to kind of understand what your current field management software challenges are. Maybe they're a little bit too pricey. Maybe there's a lack of support. They're not there when you need them the most. Or maybe you don't have a CRM at all. But let me know in the poll. And then while you're doing that, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the HVAC Insider Series, what you're experiencing here today, right? So our mission is to bring you acclaimed experts who can really give you the actionable insights and tools you need to grow a profitable business. And we do that 3 times a month, and it's absolutely free. So no obligation at all to be a Breezy customer. Just tune in, learn something new, come get all that amazing value once every week almost. So whether you're looking to boost your sales, whether you're looking to improve your operations, or like we're going to do today, transform the hiring process into your biggest competitive advantage, Breezy and the HVAC Insider Series has you covered. So thanks a bunch for participating in that poll, my friends. And I'm really excited to introduce you to today's guest, Jonathan Whistman of WhoHire. Jonathan is the CEO of WhoHire, which is the market leader in AI-driven recruiting, and that's built specifically for contractors. So no need to rely on Indeed or Monster or LinkedIn or any of those other platforms that weren't built for you, because WhoHire was. And when you use purpose-built tech, things like WhoHire, things like Breezy, that really drive solutions for the things you actually need, your wins are going to stack up. They're going to come faster. They're going to come more often. So Jonathan is the best-selling author of The Sales Boss, where you might have heard of him before. He shares his proven strategies in that book for building high-performance teams. He also led one of the largest research studies on trade employees, mapping the traits that predict success and retention. And from that work, he created what's called job blueprints, which really drive the force behind these solutions at WhoHire, which are data-driven models that contractors of all sizes can use to consistently hire top performers. And we'll get into the nitty-gritty of that today. Beyond just the tech, though, Jonathan has become a trusted advisor to the nation's leading HVAC companies, helping them automate hiring, avoid those costly mishires, and stay profitable year-round. And that, my friends, is a great formula for success. So if hiring is your biggest headache, like it is for most contractors, go ahead and scan that QR code on the screen right now, and you'll see it a couple times throughout today's presentation. I'll also drop the link in the chat. But really just get some time on Jonathan's calendar, on his team's calendar, and see how those solutions can help you cut your interview times in half, avoid those bad hires, and build a really strong team that just drives revenue all year. So without further ado, I want to welcome Jonathan. Thanks, Jonathan, for being on the show today. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. Absolutely. Looking forward to our conversation today.
Absolutely. So in the intro, I kind of talked about how you're working with some of those big HVAC companies in the industry. Can you talk about kind of who those people are and, what kind of success they're having with these data-driven and AI solutions for hiring?
Yeah, before I mention particular contractors, it might be interesting to your listeners to know, how do I go from writing a book, The Sales Boss, which is large enterprise companies, to being in home services. Right before I got into working with home services companies, I was working with a quantum computing company, 275 PhD scientists, and helping them figure out how to sell the biggest quantum computer, or the first quantum computer on the planet. But I had my website up for Sales Boss, and at this point in my career, I was only taking projects on from interesting products or interesting people. So I had on my website, if you want to work with me, you'll know somebody that can introduce you. And so Tommy Mello, some of your listeners probably heard of him, A1 Garage. Just 3 years ago, he sold 41% of his company for something like $500 million. But he reached out to me and he said, "Hey, I don't know anybody that can introduce me, but you need to know me, and you should come see me." And so, of course, I was intrigued, and I went down and saw Tommy, and I went into his office, and he's a great guy for those of you that know him. But I'm in his office, and he's on his phone, just texting, and I was sort of a little bit annoyed. And I said, "Hey, Tommy, what's so important in your phone?" And he says, "Well, I've got a technician who's got some family problems going on. I'm trying to support him." And so I knew right then that I would work with Tommy, because throughout my career, sort of the arc of that is this love for people and elevating human potential. And so we got to working together. We created a prediction model for his for hiring, his technicians, his garage door technicians. And that really got me looking at the trades as a whole. And I started looking at HVAC, plumbing, electrical. Here are contractors building the backbone of our communities, and having this massive turnover and tons of training costs. So you put, if you hire somebody, you put them in a truck, you spend, $70,000 annual salary plus all their training, you lose them within the first year. The statistics are like 53% turnover in 2 years. That's 100% turnover every 2 years. Like, it's exhausting. Anyway, that's how I got involved in that. And we'll talk about some of the tech doing it. But since then, I've had the privilege to work with some of the largest contractors. Comes to mind Waldrop, if folks know them. Call Dads has put together such an amazing program. If you check them out online, like the way they bring people in through social media challenge, social media posts and videos, they come right into our platform. Our platform sort of automates that. I think they hired like 200 people through our platform so far this year, and all of them top performers. Golden Rule, Intelligent Design. Golden Rule actually is an interesting story, because out there in Des Moines, they can't find good HVAC technicians. And so they're training them. So they're hiring them, people with no, technical skills, no sales skill. They put them in a 90-day training class, put them in a truck, and they were having people churn out of that truck and out of the position sooner than they were rotating the tires on those trucks.
Wow.
But it's a huge problem, costly. So they started using our prediction models, and they graduated a class this last December. And I had a call in March with them, and they said those 3 graduates were already the number 1, number 2, and number 8 producer out of 22 technicians, some of them who had been there more than a decade. So that shows the power of getting the use of data to make hiring decisions, because most contractors just, we trust gut and intuition. And the reality is there's more than a 50% divorce rate in the country. Like, if our gut and intuition was that good, divorce rates would be lower, right? And if we make that kind of mistake in the love of our life, we're certainly making that kind of mistake when it comes to our employees.
Well, I hope my gut decision about my wife is a little bit better than the country's average. But
yeah, maybe it's better for you. And I wish that for every contractor.
Absolutely. And I'm thinking just something that stuck out to me when you said that, hiring for soft skills, hiring for, culture, hiring for those those things that, you might not be able to see on paper. Those are going to be the people that last and bring great culture and great productivity to your company. And I'm wondering, 90-day kind of skills training at that company you just mentioned, does WhoHire, kind of the model that you built, kind of identify aptitude for the skills training too, or is it more so? Can you talk a little bit about that? Like,
Yeah.
what?
So, and I'll get into this as part of my recruiting masterclass, how that works. But what we're really looking for is, will the people that you hire have a natural talent to learn the thing you're trying to teach them? And then once they've mastered it, will they stick around long enough because they enjoy it? Because sometimes you hire somebody, they're good at it, and they get up crawling around an attic. They're like, "F this, I'm out of here."
Right.
Doesn't mean they can't do the job. They just don't want to do the job. So we're trying to statistically look at the people you're hiring, and we're comparing them to real people doing the job whose performance we already know, and we're using statistical accuracy to make a prediction of how they're going to do. And I'll get into that in a little more depth in my presentation.
Absolutely. Well, I'd love to kind of get into that now. So I'll throw up your slides and feel free to take over, and I'll hop in if there's any questions in the chat. But this is your show for the next 40 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to do a recruiting masterclass. I promise we're not just going to talk technology. We're going to talk about what are the things you can do today in your hiring process, finding people, bringing them in, putting them to work that can dramatically change your results. I want to start with a video that will help you understand the perspective at which I look at organizations.
The most notable achievements stand as testimony to the power of human potential. The potential to dream, to have an idea, the potential to work, to celebrate, to challenge, whether alone or as part of a community. The power of human potential. To push on when one wishes to quit, to resist when necessary, to inspire when called upon, the potential to comfort and start over, the potential to win despite the odds, to overcome and achieve the once unthinkable. It's an awesome thing to see human potential realized. Think about your own human potential. What is it you want to be remembered for? What will you create when you elevate the human potential in yourself and in all of those around you?
Feeling pumped up after that.
All right. It is an awesome thing to see human potential realized. And when you think about the power of human potential, it's amazing what can be accomplished. I was out on my property, and sometimes in the morning I have to go out and feed the animals. And so I wandered out where our horses are at. And I live in the desert in Phoenix, and I wander out and I turn the spigot, and you hear the water. All of a sudden it's hitting the metal trough, and I can hear that. I'm a little distracted. I can see that, horses are already coming up there, and I get on my phone and I start surfing, checking email, get on, check Facebook, that sort of thing. And all of a sudden it occurs to me that I can, with the twist of my wrist, have water for fractions of a penny in the middle of the desert, while I'm on my phone connected to dozens of satellites that can allow me to communicate with people around the globe. Now, why is it that I can do that? Well, it's because some human had the idea that I should be able to get water in the middle of the desert, and they got enough other people believing that and joining them in that. And now I can, with a turn of a wrist, for fractions of a penny, have water in the middle of the desert. I can get on my phone and connect to satellites. For what reason? Because some human believed that I should have the ability to connect to satellites and instantly connect with people around the globe. That's the power of human potential realized. These are the same humans that show up in our businesses, and yet, what's the biggest complaint you have in your business? Isn't it the people? My grandfather used to say business would be easy if it wasn't for the people. And every contractor I've talked to says the same thing. I changed that a little bit in my book, The Sales Boss. I say people are unique, but they're predictably unique. And if we can master humans and understanding humans, then we can help them reach the potential. And when humans reach their potential, then the valuation of your business goes up. The valuation of your business is directly tied to the quality of your people. And so I believe that it's the single most important system, this system for identifying, for recruiting, for hiring and training the team. If you're an executive and you're on this call, you are not in the HVAC business. You're not in the plumbing business. You are in the business of humans, finding humans, training humans, inspiring humans. Your humans can be in the business of doing HVAC. I hope everybody follows that because it's a fundamental shift in the way you run your business. Think about the cadence meetings you have in your organization. I would say you have more meetings about shipping and delivering and parts and customer satisfaction than you have about bringing people into your organization. The quality of those people. Are you hitting the targets? Are you reducing your churn? Are you inspiring people to greater performance? So I'd like to challenge people to with your leadership team, how do you elevate humans as being the single most important system in your business? And we're going to talk about that today. And you're hearing a lot of conversation about AI. You know, it's like AI this, AI that. The algorithms that we're using inside of our platform, we started working on these 10 years ago. There's a ton of data behind them. How should you think about AI? I like to use a simple illustration. Have you ever been in a airplane and you're sitting on the airfield and you look out, you know, you just see the runway, you can see the terminal buildings. You really can't tell much. And then as you get higher and higher, what eventually ends up happening? Eventually, you can see something that might look like this outside your window. And if it was this outside your window, you can start to say, oh, I'm in a farming community. I'm starting to see the patterns, and with those patterns, it gives me context, and that context gives me a greater idea of where I'm at. That is all AI is. It is advanced pattern recognition at scale. That's it. Doesn't matter whether you're using ChatGPT, any of the GPT models that are out there, any of the algorithms that are out there, any of the machine learning things that are out there. Every one of them is just about recognizing patterns. And that's the power of it, because computers have the ability to fly much higher than we do, see a wider portion of the earth, so to speak, if we use this analysis, and it doesn't forget. And so it can help us make better decisions. And we should be offloading these decisions, not the human part of the decision, but the pattern recognition part of the decision, to tools that can help us. So we did the largest ever research study quantifying the performance DNA of trades employees. We got actual field results from people in the field. And we were asking this question: could we use data analytics and artificial intelligence to improve hiring outcomes? What does this really mean? We partnered with organizations like Nexstar that has thousands of members, and all of those HVAC companies, plumbing companies, allowed us to assess all of their employees. So their employees sat down, took a 2-hour questionnaire, and we found out all these things you see on your screen, about 450 traits. What was their selling efficacy? What was their work locus of control? What was their life stress index? What was their honesty and humility? What was their emotional resilience? So we have the deepest picture of who are the kind of humans that show up inside of your business. Now, I don't care how long you've been working for somebody, and certainly not in an interview, you do not have the human capability of seeing this and retaining this in every single human. We have this data now on thousands and thousands of HVAC technicians, CSR agents, dispatchers, mid-level managers, operation managers, and we're feeding this into our data engine. Now, for those same companies, so this is another example of all of these traits, just 90 of them that we narrowed down to. we got the actual performance data from all those humans. So if you're plugged into your CRM of choice, whether that's Breezy or any of the, Service Titan or any of the ones that are out there, we got that data on those same employees, and we put it into a machine learning algorithm to say, Mr. Algorithm, tell me which of these things matter over here when it comes to hiring somebody to be an HVAC installer. Which of them matter in what rating? And so out of that, we get what we call a job blueprint, a Reggie blueprint. This is the one you're looking at for this one actually happens to be for a sales rep candidate. It takes them 14 minutes. So these are the ones this is a home service sales rep. These are the things that we actually matter. These are the weightings that we weigh them in. And we then give you a prediction, 0 to 100 for performance. And what is their flight risk? Obviously, higher performance, lower flight risk, right? Hiring is really this making bets on humans before I invest in them. So this is the psychographic profile of a high-performing sales rep. We'll send you these afterwards, so you have these. You can use these models whether or not you use our system. We also have them for every role in the home service industry. I'll send them to you, even if you don't sign up on our platform. But what our platform does is help you measure those quickly, so you're only spending time with qualified candidates. This is the one for an HVAC service technician. You can see there's quite a few more things we measure, but in 17 minutes, we can get this picture of what's happening in the human that's in your interview pipeline. And then inside of WhoHire, we wrap that with a ton of automation. So right when they apply, our system starts automatically texting with them, conversing with them, and giving you the answer to how likely are they to succeed in the role. So let's then talk about recruitment success. So I've talked a little bit about the platform. It starts with, when you're recruiting, you got to know who's sitting in front of you. So let's just say that, that's the Reggie blueprint. But there's a lot of other things you need to do. And these are things that you can do in your business today. Let's talk about mindset. Your mindset of your leadership team needs to be, I'm writing a $500K check after every single interview when I tell that candidate they can move forward. Is that what it's like in your business? I've been inside of home service businesses. They're busy, 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 busy. And then it's like, oh, I got an interview coming. Where's their resume? Let me look at it, right? And who in your company has the authority to write a $500,000 check? I bet there's not that many people. And yet every day you're giving that maybe to some mid-20-year-old person that's going through screening resumes off Indeed. You're giving that $500,000 writing ability to mid-level managers who's never really been trained to interview. We've got to elevate it. You're writing a $500,000 check. The data suggests if you're paying a technician $70K a year and they churn out of your company, it's a direct $50K loss to the company, right to the bottom line. So ask yourself, how many technicians have you lost? An average truck sitting empty, $500,000 a month. That's the kind of issue. So we have to elevate that. You have to realize your job is to keep imposters off the team and realize no matter how busy your day is, the single most important decision you're going to make that day is who you're going to hire and put in your company. So rely on data, less on gut and intuition. Secondly, this last point, you should always have a drop dead date and clear performance. What do I mean by that? When you hire somebody, you should know clearly how you're going to measure performance and then have some sort of drop dead date. What does this allow you to do for your company? Well, let's say you have a manager and they're hiring somebody and you're working them through the process. You can simply say to that person, CJ, we've talked a lot about what's required in this role. And here's the thing. I've made a commitment to my leadership team on day 90 or 120, whatever that is, that if somebody hasn't reached that level, that I'm going to let them go out of the company and turn them free so they can pursue their life elsewhere. So if we get to that date and your performance isn't there, there's nothing I can do to save you. I've already made that commitment. What I can tell you is I'm going to do everything possible in my power to help you reach that together. Does this seem like a fair deal that we're making together? Now you get a new employee who you've measured statistically, you know they're going to succeed. You've done the $500,000 kind of thinking about this person, and now you've told them clearly, here's what it takes to succeed, and we have to do it together because it's a drop dead date. When you do that, the velocity of people coming into your organization and succeeding will go up. That's why in Golden Rule, they're able to bring people in, do a 90-day training, put them in a truck, and 3 months later, have them be the number 1, number 2, and number 8 performer out of a company of 22 technicians. If you're in this moment of pain in your organization, you don't have to think that this is a long process to get out of it. It's easy to fix when you make the commitment. So that's mindset. Now let's talk about job posting and advertisements. So with your job postings, you need to know your avatar. What do I mean by avatar? I mean, who is the person that takes that job? Now we've gotten sort of in HR land where we say, hey, we can't describe male or female, young, old. That's all true. We can't discriminate. But what you can do is you can describe the person. Who are they? Like, what's their life circumstance that causes them to show up in your business? Because when you write your job ad, if you go out and look at your job ad and you put 10 other companies up there, I would say most people are going to be plus or minus 10%. Your ad's going to look just like everyone else's. So getting really clear about your avatar and then write to that avatar. So if you have an HVAC technician opening up and it's, you got a 26-year-old that typically does really well in that, and maybe they're coming, they just got their girlfriend or their wife pregnant. Now they got new responsibilities and they realize they should have taken a job more seriously and they're looking for a career. You should be writing your job ad right to that person. Hey, wake up this morning and realize there's way more responsibility than paycheck left. That's going to catch them because you're sitting on the shelf on Indeed or anywhere else where you're trying to bring people in. And think about it. When you go, like, if you get onto Amazon and you're trying to buy a book, maybe a romance novel, I don't know, business book, you just type it in and it has a whole bunch of covers. Which one do you pick? You don't go check every single one. You go, oh, this one looks interesting. Caught my eye. And then if they don't close, you do another one. You work your way down. There's probably a dozen books you never even give the time of day because they just look blah. So describe the person, not the role. You have to grab their attention. Almost every job ad I see out there posting is, we're a fast growing company and we're looking for people, right? You're describing the company, and you should be describing the avatar that you're speaking to. So we have a job writing tool. I'll give it to CJ. If you put your notes in, he'll send it to you. It'll rewrite things for you. In our platform, we automatically not only rewrite your job ads, but we compare them statistically to all the other job ads in your marketplace and how those are performing. Okay. So third thing, compensation. How do you think about compensation? This is my bias, never 100% commission. But if it is, you have to use this language, must earn 120K a year. Get rid of the language can earn. If you have a base plus some sort of variable commission, don't describe the base and the variable in the posting. Say a successful candidate must earn 150,000 a year or they'll no longer work with us. And then give a reason. It should sound like, because we have a proven system for training and developing people, we provide quality leads. You're going to immediately, just for that reason, have almost a 50% more response rate. If people say you can earn unlimited earnings, we pay competitive salary. Competitive salary is like, it's like silent speak for blah, blah, blah. We're going to pay you the absolute least we can to actually get you to say yes to taking this job. There's nothing compelling about it. And if you say unlimited earnings, they just think you're full of BS. So be really specific. In fact, if you have high performers on your team, I would say of our 10 earners on our team as of this date, March 5th, 3 of them are earning this, 2 of them are earning this, 1 of them earning this. Which one will you be? You have to make it real. People are used to being sold a bill of goods. So you have to stand out as different. Okay, let's look at an actual job posting that you see out there. This is one that happens to be for a roofing company because I didn't want to put any HVAC companies, on. I didn't want you to feel guilty about your advertisement. This is a real one. Centurion Roofing, you can Google them. They're out there. Centurion Roofing, a veteran-owned company, continues to grow. Due to our increasing market share, robust customer demand, we're in need of an additional outside sales representative for our roofing division. Our sales serves a what? Are you tired of me reading that to you already? It's blah, 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 blah. Is it any wonder that they're spending thousands of dollars on Indeed to get somebody to click and apply? So let's do a little rewrite of that. It needs to look at this, like this. If you're going to look at that and you say, well, that's not even complete English. It looks like text messages. That's the secret right there. Stands out, lots of white space. Done working for someone that doesn't get it, that doesn't understand the meaning of loyalty, commitment, and crushing every challenge. Know you're built for more. If you're ready to be a part of something bigger that actually means something, keep reading. Welcome to Centurion Roofing, not your usual roofing company. We're veteran owned and operated. Now, remember the other advertisement said they were veteran owned and operated, but there was, so what? Didn't say, like, why should your applicant care? Now you're going to tell them in this ad, we're veteran owned and operated, and we know how to build a team that delivers no matter what. In the military, we learned that failure isn't an option. We bring that relentless drive to every project we undertake. We're looking for a sales sniper that has an immediate need to make 125K. In fact, we won't keep you if you don't. Now tell me, if you were a driven, hungry salesperson, are you going to respond to this ad or this ad? Yep. I'm not even, I don't even need you to say, 100% people are going to respond to this one. Why work for us? You continue that, right? Mission first, unshakable under pressure. What's the perfect candidate? So look at your job ads and rewrite those. So let's talk about what success looks in the second part of this. One is the process that you're going to take a candidate through. It has to communicate all the way through strong vision and a standard for performance. You have to have speed and clarity on what the process will be. It can be automated, but it has to be human. Do you know that employers are ghosting candidates? You have people that you've paid to get to click on an ad to come into your hiring funnel, and they end up on a page that says, thank you, we'll get back to you soon. And then you play phone tag with them. They get an email that gets filtered out by spam or, by the spam bots, and they never even see it. Think about like Uber and DoorDash. Like, I don't know about you, but if in the middle of the night you get the munchies, I don't know why you'd get munchies in the middle of the night, but let's say you do, and you order a burrito. How often do you look at your app to find out where that burrito's at? Like the dasher's been dispatched, the dasher's at the job, the dasher's on the way. Looking at that app does absolutely nothing to get you your burrito quicker, but why do you look at it? Humans have a need to know, and our society has trained people that way. So how do you put this in your hiring? It has to be modern. It has to feel like they know where they're going, when it's going to get there. So it has to be speed and clarity. You have to say, look, when you hit the apply button, we guarantee 100% response rate within X number of hours. You could be hired by next week. Here's the 3 steps of our process. We're choosy, but we move fast for the right candidate. We know what we're looking for. If you're still hiring in 2025 and you're planning on hiring in 2026 like you hired in 2025, you're going to get further and further and further behind. Candidate technology has changed. It has to be friendly, it has to be mobile, but it also has to work. So let's move into the interview stage. You actually get them right into your building. What are you looking for? I'm going to give you one secret thing. We've got our blueprint. I would definitely use the blueprint. There's no reason you shouldn't have it, shouldn't equip your company with this technology. But barring all else, I'm going to give you the sales boss rule of thumb for hiring great candidates, regardless of the role. I'm looking for the happy discontent. What do I mean by the happy discontent? I mean, generally in life, they're happy. You can tell by the way they describe the world around them, how they hold themselves, their posture, the way they look at you, the way they interact. They're happy, but they're also a little discontent. Like they know they can be better. They like to challenge themselves. They're not thinking they already have won. Does that make sense? Happy discontent. So I don't really care about the answers they're giving me. I don't really care about their background. I'm looking for a happy discontent. Why? Because I don't want to work with miserable people. That's how they see the world. But I also don't want to work with people that feel like they've already made it. There's nothing more they can learn. Happy discontent. Teacher leadership, looking at people. Are they happy? But also, are they a little bit discontent? You look at somebody like Tommy Mello that we mentioned at the beginning. He's a happy guy. by all measures, he's made it. But if you sit around with him very long, you can realize he's still discontent about a few things. So it's like, oh, I can optimize this. I can get better at this. There's that hunger. So in my book, The Sales Boss, I use the acronym BOSS. Why do I call it the sales boss? Well, I didn't want to call it a sales manager, because who likes people that are managing, right? And if you ask somebody how they're doing and they say, I'm managing, you probably don't, no interest, right? You want somebody that's doing it with style and flair. They're doing it like a boss. But I use boss as an acronym for diagnosing performance. And I would write these down. It can be your own or the people you're hiring. B stands for behavior. What's the behavior necessary for that job? It isn't how they're doing it. So if it requires picking up the phone, if it requires, it's just listing the behaviors. And you have to know what is normal for that job, right? What's normal for your employees? How many phone calls, how many leads do they have to run to get an outcome? And then what's normal for each member of your team? So when you're diagnosing performance up or down, I'm just going to go back and look at behavior. If the behavior is down 20% and sales is down 20%, I could probably start with just getting back to the right behaviors. O stands for outlook. Outlook's everything that's going on between the ears. Their view towards themselves, towards their community, towards their wives, towards their husbands, towards their children, towards the competitor, towards you as the boss, towards the job to be done that day. If their outlook is off, it doesn't matter how good their behaviors is, they're not going to be effective. So behavior, outlook. S stands for skill. So how well do they do that thing? Can they give the pitch? Do they go for the close? Do they give 3 options? And then the last S is strategy. Is their strategy off? So anytime I'm diagnosing performance, I'm going to look at this BOSS. I'm going to go in that order, but I'm going to use it in the hiring process. And the most important thing of all this is the B. Have they done the behavior? I don't mean have they done the thing, like have they been a HVAC technician, but if they have to go into people's homes or they have to interact, have they done that behavior? Right, think about it like if you were a fitness coach, what kind of client would you want? Would you want one that went to the gym regularly, but just was never effective and was still overweight, or one that had never gone to the gym? You'd probably want the one that had at least gone to the gym because they had the behavior. Now, if you can improve their outlook towards going to the gym and you can give them some skills while they're in the gym and a strategy, they're going to make much better and faster progress than if they've never had the behavior. Now, number one thing I get asked by people when I talk about hiring, they're like, what question should I ask? As though there's some magic question that's going to be like, ding, ding, this is the perfect hire. I hate to disappoint you. There's no magic question. There's only the questions you'll feel good about being lied to by the candidate. The answers don't matter. What am I looking for? I'm looking for mental flexibility, composure. Can they handle pressure? Can they handle coaching? Because isn't it true if somebody has mental flexibility, composure, they can handle pressure and coaching, you could probably teach them anything you want to teach them, especially if they're a happy discontent and they match the Reggie blueprint that says they're likely to be successful. Think about the Reggie blueprint. It's kind of like walking into a room of a bunch of kids, little kids, beating on pots and pans, making music. And if you could say, hey, if I gave all of these kids the same opportunity, put them in the same music classes, gave them the same coaches, this kid is just going to sing in the shower. This kid's going to be good only at karaoke and probably even not that good. And this kid is going to sing at Carnegie Hall. That's the power we're giving you when you have a flood of candidates coming in to say, hey, if I'm going to invest my time, money, energy, attention, headache on this candidate, I want the person that's going to be at Carnegie Hall.
From the mediocre karaoke guy, I take resent to that remark. You know that?
If only they could have told you.
If only they could have told me to pick something different when I was a kid. How can somebody access this book? How do we get our hands on it?
The Sales Boss?
Yeah.
Oh, Amazon. Amazon's your best friend.
Cool. I'll go find a link and drop it in the chat.
Yeah, Amazon's your best friend. So let's move past this then. Here's an innovation we're putting in our platform. This is why you need to be on the cutting edge. And if you wait for everything to be perfect in AI before you start using it, you will be further and further behind. So imagine you record one video inside our platform to welcome an applicant. This is one that I did. Obviously, you would make it different because you're hiring different people, but I just recorded this. You can see it's right where I'm sitting right now, right? That day I didn't shave, but here you go. Hey, Frank, this is Jonathan from WhoHire. I got your application for our lead consultant job, and I noticed that you have some experience working with XYZ company, and that might be interesting for us. Looking forward to getting a chance to talk to you. We've got a ton of interest in this role, so we've decided that we're going to do a couple of the first steps asynchronously so we can, get people through quickly and get you into the right place. So I've added a few questions in a video. If you don't mind on your cell phone, just answering a couple of those questions, our team's going to take a look at it, decide what the next steps might be for us, and get back together with you quickly. So, okay, so imagine you record this once in our system. There's no way you can record that for every single candidate coming through your pipeline, and you don't have to. Hey, Frank, this is Jonathan from Hey, Michael. Our AI scrapes all of their resume, all the stuff off their social media. We know their name, we know what they did, we know how it relates. We're comparing it to the job, and our system automatically reproduces. Hey, Michael, this is Jonathan from WhoHire. I got your application for our deputy manager job, and I noticed that you have some experience working with Facebook, and that might be interesting. Okay. All right. I go to the next candidate. Hey, Tom Stewart. This is Jonathan from WhoHire. I got your application for our CEO job. So you notice it's generating this and instantly getting them out. Now, let me ask you, you have an applicant come in that says, we're going to get back to you shortly. And you have another one that about 20 minutes afterwards, long enough that somebody could have looked at the resume, they get a text message and they get a video that has their name in the thing that says, CJ, this is about your application just now. Are they going to watch the video? Are they going to respond? Are your costs of acquisition going to go down because now you're getting 7 out of 10 responses for the people that click on that link rather than the 2 out of 10 that most of you are getting? Your costs on Indeed are going to go down. Your costs on social advertising are going to go down. The quality of your candidate's going to go up, and the engagement of that candidate's going to go up. This is how in today's world you win the battle. It is true, it is harder and harder to hire great people. What does that mean? It means you have to cast a wider and wider net. And you cast a wider and wider net on social media, and you have the guy that just is on number 5 of a 6-pack for the evening, probably has a blunt going, and he sees your ad and he punches the apply button, not realizing that you've just deluged some poor human in your office with an applicant that should have never happened. And our system finds that and goes, thanks, but no thanks. So you get to pick.
Jonathan,
Yes.
how far away are we from an AI version of CJ Todd hosting this webinar?
Oh, this is the CJ, not far, because I'm actually an AI. Jonathan had to travel today, and so he asked me to step in and do this presentation for him.
Nice to meet you, Jonathan AI.
Yeah, pretty soon our audience will be AI as well. But this is the thing, you can debate AI, right? And people say, oh, it's going to be cold, it's not going to be warm, you can do both. And what are you doing? You're freeing up your humans to do the things that actually matter. Do you think anybody wants to go through this song and dance of hiring people? Your candidates don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. So let's quit beating our head on the wall and fix it. The single most important system in your business. I want you to just do this if you're listening to this, math in your head. Take your whole income producing team, whether that's your selling technician or whatever you call it in your company, just plot them on a line. How many would you put in the top bucket? How many would you put in the middle bucket? And how many in the bottom bucket? In many companies, there is sometimes as much as 100% difference. Somebody producing 500K a year, 500K, another person doing $1 million, somebody doing 10 million, somebody else producing 20 million. You're spending the same for that truck, for the leads, for the guy in the middle as the guy in the top. And we fool ourselves in believing that our highest performer is, some sort of anomaly. Like there's, we should discredit them because they're such a superstar. This is not true. There are superstars out there in mass. The problem is your system isn't designed to handle it. Guess how many interviews you have to do? I have the data. How many interviews do you have to do to get one performer in your company that's going to be at the top 5%? It's 162. 162 people you're going to have to interview and talk to under the old method to get one at the top 5%. Why do you not have everybody in the top 5% of your company? Because you're interviewing 4 candidates for every one you hire. Because it's hard and it's messy. let us interview the 160 so you can get the one that's going to be at the top 5%. That's the value proposition here. All right. So, hey, Michael, we're going to skip past that. If you want to test this, that's a QR code. You can just scan that right now. You can put your first name in, fill it out. In about 2 minutes, you're going to get a custom video for you. I'm going to hold that up there just a second if people want to do that. Yeah, CJ wants one as well. And if you do this, I'm going to send you my group interview guide. It's 26 pages of how to run a group interview like a stage play put on by a psychologist, not like these cattle calls where you're treating a group interview just like you do a one-on-one interview. All right. So again, in our system, we have the job blueprint. We wrap that with all the things you need. So we have Go Ready tests. Go Ready tests allow you to test for a skill. So let's say you want to hire somebody that has a basic knowledge of construction or electrical systems. We test that inside of our platform, give you a score. We sync to your website. We do one-way video interviews. We automate the scoring. We do dynamic texting, all the reminders, sync it to your job board. And by the way, 24 hours a day, you can go to meetwhohire.com. You could do it now if you wanted to. Meetwhohire.com. You're going to have some lovely ladies there instantaneously that know everything about recruiting and about our platform that will help you with your problem. And you get that at no cost because we know when you're stuck, you don't want to wait. You don't want to make an appointment. Okay. So we're going to stop there. Thank you for your time and attention.
Jonathan, that was some incredible content, my friend.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And I know, like, everybody, just so you understand, Jonathan's working with so many HVAC and plumbing and electrical, just all kinds of trades business owners across the country. He is flying here and there. He's attending workshops. He's attending conferences. So for you to be able to just sit down with us for an hour and open up your book has been amazing. Before we get into a Q&A session, I'd like to launch another quick poll. We've heard, all kinds of solutions that are available, AI, data-driven solutions through WhoHire. And, Breezy offers a lot of those AI data-driven solutions as well. Things like after-hour CSRs that plug directly into your calendar that can get people booked. So you don't have to, operate your phone over the weekends or the holidays. Things like automated estimate follow-ups. If the homeowner views estimate and doesn't follow through, we'll kind of reach out to them and move them on down the pipeline. So please let us know if you're interested in hearing from us, WhoHire, Breezy, or both of us, and we'll reach out after today's call. Jonathan, I think this job blueprint and the psychographic profiles, that's a game changer. That's, just the thing that stuck out to me the most. So how quickly can an HVAC company start building these? Like, what data do you need from them or their employees to get going?
Great question. They're already built. They can turn them on tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah, nothing needed. Turn the key, push the accelerator, let's go.
Nice.
And then the longer they use it, the smarter it's going to get for them.
Very cool. So with a lot of those tools claiming that they're, AI for hiring, we heard about a couple of things today, but like, what's the approach that is really different from WhoHire, and how do we know these results are actually reliable?
Yeah, well, we're the only planet on the only platform on the planet that shows you here's what we predicted and here's what happened. We don't hide it. You can just go in and say, like, a lot of things, like, people are busy and they're like, well, how do you know your marketing didn't work? And we just show you, here's what we said we'd do. Here's what you got. Right. So in a marketing company, you said, we're going to produce 100 leads, and we show you, well, we got 99 or we got 80 or we got 20. We told you this person was going to stay around longer, than 3 times as long as the other person. And that's what happened. We told you this person's going to scale faster. That's what happened. Now, is it perfect? No. It's like a game of poker. When you're sitting at a game of poker, every hand has hand rankings, and there's also pot odds. Who else is there, right? Who else are you competing against? So you can sometimes bet at a bad hand of poker and win. Sometimes you bet at a great hand and you lose. It's the discipline of playing the best odds all the time. And then you're also sitting around that table. Who are the other people around the table? It's other contractors in your market that are kicking your ass because they have better social media content. They have a better culture when people walk in the front door. So if you're going to win the game of humans, You got to win the game of humans.
Absolutely. And I think, with so many guests that come on the show, there's an AI or automation element of it. And I think that tends to, I don't know, scare some people in this industry or maybe intimidate them, or just the lack of understanding. And I really appreciate the 30,000-foot view kind of analogy that you gave us.
Contractors have been using AI for already a decade. They just don't realize it. So when you like type in on your phone and it autocorrects, that's AI.
Yeah. Yeah. So
when you talk to Siri and it does something, or you hop in your car and it says, Google Maps pops up and says you're probably going home, that's AI. The only difference is like it's got a wrapper on it, and it's starting to affect more and more places in our lives in ways that people didn't think was possible, but they're already using it. And I'm sure there's a day where they won't think even twice about these latest AI tools. So the reality is, fear, no fear, so what? They're here. They're not going away. You're either going to be the old person sitting in a chair wondering, how do you program the VCR? And your grandkid tells you, or you're going to be the one programming the clock on the VCR. Times change. Like that's the name of the game. And if you don't want to play the game anymore, then you should just get out.
100%.
I was sitting at masterminds with home service companies 6 months ago. People are saying, I'm never going to use voice AI to answer my phone. My customers they won't tolerate it. They'll scale off. And then a few months later, like, well, I'm just having them answer the back end calls. I mentioned Call Dads. One of my clients, they're using it as a first line call. First line call. It outperforms any other CSR they have, and they have great CSRs. Their closing rates higher, the bookings are higher. I went to another conference a month ago. 80% of the room of all high-performing contractors are using it as the front line. That's in a 6-month, 80 against to 80 already implementing it. You don't have, people don't, there's like, this feels like a scare tactic to people, but it's not. That's the reality. I'm looking at tech myself, and I'm very tech forward. I got 5 AI companies that I've built. I'm deep into the technology part of it. I can see the good, the bad, the ugly of it. I tend to think of AI like nuclear weapons. Like, we've had the ability to destroy the planet by nuclear power for decades. Fortunately, we've managed to not destroy the planet through treaties and all of the other sort of things. Yes, we've had some bad nuclear accidents. The same thing's going to happen with AI, I hope. We'll manage to avert the disaster. We'll have some disasters, but net, it'll be a positive for the planet.
100%.
That's my AI speech.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I think, like you said before, if you're not an adopter, your competitors are just going to outpace you. So,
but I'll quit lying to people, and I think business owners should. I hear this quaint phrase at every conference I go to: you're not going to lose your job to AI. You're going to lose your job to someone using AI. That's also BS. You are losing your job to AI. No question about it. It's just a matter of when. Let's be honest. If you're a CSR agent in a home service company, you are losing your job. It's just a matter of when. There's zero reason a business owner will use a human to answer the phone when it's perfect and they get a better outcome for a lower cost. Let's just be honest, because if we're not honest, we can't reskill humans. And I think that's the disservice to our community, isn't the fact that they got replaced by AI. Because I don't really think people, like, the jobs people are doing, not everybody loves that job anyway. If we're a good member of our community, it's our job not to lie to people. I would tell my CSR agents, yeah, that job's going to go away. Guess what? I'm loyal to you. I'm going to upskill you. I'm going to find a way to put you to use in our business. But that job you're sitting in today might not be here in 90 days. That, to me, is the human thing to do. And you'll have loyalty from your employees. This elevating human potential doesn't mean we pacify people and don't be honest with them about the reality of what's going. It's like telling a fat person it's okay to eat Cheetos. They're going to kill themselves. These people are going to lose their jobs if they don't open their minds and upskill themselves. I would rather the people on my team be ahead of that. I wrote a post 2 years ago, actually 2.5 years ago, saying all CSR agent jobs will be gone. You should be ahead of the pack, already reskilling yourself. People that listen to that are already left that industry. They're in jobs they love. If you wait till the last minute and you're going to try to upskill, the job market's going to be completely crowded.
Where do you think sorry to cut you off. Where do
Yeah.
you think the human potential is going in the industry? Like,
Well,
where do people need to upskill
yeah,
to?
well, I love these service technicians roles, the installers, like all of those manual human tasks that need to happen where you're actually physically present face to face with somebody. That job's not going to go away yet. So I would probably be spending time there and upskilling in that way.
Nice.
Yeah. I actually think home service companies, like what I hear a lot of companies go is like, I don't need an automated system because I can't get enough good candidates. You're actually well, one, that's a you problem, because I work with hundreds of customers that have thousands of applicants and they hire 50 a month. So it's a you problem, not an industry problem. It just feels better for the contractor to blame the industry if people don't want to work anymore, but that's them being lazy. They're going to actually face a different problem. Different problem is there's going to be entire segments of the economy out of work. You're not going to have Uber drivers. I'm driving around in Waymos here in town. Why would I have an Uber driver? There's going to be people that are in call centers, great educated people in call centers out of work. Your problem isn't going to be having enough humans applying. The problem is going to be that all these really talented humans applying that need to be reskilled. And if you have the ability to pick the best of the best out of that group quickly, wow, you're going to be able to succeed. But this idea of like scarcity of great talent is just an untruth. Quit lying to yourself.
Yeah, I agree. So I think the most successful contractors I see in, the space have an internal technical training program that, like you said, with your client, just churn out the right people with the right skills.
Yeah. I would ask you, like, if you're using software or platform and stuff, or even you're a contractor, if you say, what would a piece of software or a system have to do for me to independently say, I want to write the company a $200K check to invest in their company? What would they have to do for me to write a $2 million check? Like, what kind of impact would they have to have on their business? What about $1 million check? I've had at least 20 customers write me a $200K check just based on the results that I've got them say, I want to be a part of them. This week, I had somebody write me a $2 million check. A year ago, I had somebody write me $1 million check. People don't write checks like that if you're not fundamentally changing how they run their business. This tech is going to work. It's going to change people. It is working. It is changing companies, and it's only going to get better. My mission is to have the very best technology plus human services for the trades. And that's what I'm inviting contractors to be a part of. It's a fun ride.
Yeah, I've been watching it from the sidelines and really excited to get involved with you and the WhoHire mission. It's a game changer. And again, Jonathan, I really appreciate you joining us today. Are there any final thoughts you want to leave the audience with before we sign off?
Yeah, well, I've talked a lot. I think owners of home service companies, genuinely, these are the companies that make a difference in our community. They're the ones whose logos are at the software or at the softball fields, the baseball fields, the football fields. It's the ones running charity work inside of our communities. They're the ones taking people who might be broken, might not have thought about their future, giving them a place and a purpose. And like, it's an amazing place to be. There's probably nothing more American than running a home service company. Like, our homes have to have heating and cooling and plumbing. But let's be excited that that's what we're doing, and that people will love to come work for you and love to be a part of your business. Like, if when you think about the people part of the business, it's a headache, it's you. You're doing it wrong. And there's a roadmap to fix it. There's plenty of people. So people can look at my Facebook page. I post on there. I did 2 interviews when we were just at the Home Service Freedom. And the whole company sitting down and saying the favorite time in their company now is when they hire. That it's fun. That it's fun. You don't hear people talk about that. But when you can build a magical environment inside your company and you figure out this process to pull all the headache out of it, you only hate it because you fail at it miserably over and over again. You're a blessing to the community. Get that off your plate and just go out and be great at what you're doing.
Oh yeah, I love it. Jonathan, we're going to catch up soon. So I'm going to leave everybody with a chance to sign up for next week's show. So bye-bye, my friends, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.